Good. Hi, everybody. And yes, I think it's episode 18 of Guest Safety Officer Lobby Group. Some of you will have already realized that young Gary is not with us today. That's because he's had a very, very busy weekend, bumper weekend, Thursday all the way through to Monday doing events. So I'm really sorry he's not here. But what I do have is a wonderful guest. Paul Eeles. Who's Paul Eeles? Well, he is the CEO of SEG, Skills Education Group, and he's here to talk to us about qualifications from the point of view and perspective of an awarding organisation. Paul, welcome.
Hi, Ian. Thank you for having me.
Mate, it's not a problem. Honestly, I'm really, really pleased you're here. Listen, first of all, I suppose you better tell us who you are, because I could just have anybody here anyway, couldn't I, otherwise?
Yeah, very true. I'm Paul Eeles. As you rightly said, I'm the Chief Executive of Skills and Education Group. We're a further education and skills charity owned by our members, the further education sector. And within it, we have a number of awarding organisations that are subsidiaries. And the one I'm here to represent today is the BIIAB. Hence the branded top, just to ensure that I don't forget who I'm working for today. But yeah, the BIIAB and our qualifications in the security sector.
You see, so the reason I wanted to talk to you is because obviously you're aware of the File on 4 expose.
Yeah, I certainly am.
How did you feel when you did hear that, Paul?
Yeah, it's really disappointing. Clearly, there's some real issues in some training centres, and a number of centres were exposed in the File on 4. And a number of awarding organisations, ourselves included, caught up in that. We had some learners, a very small number of learners that were caught up in that, and it concerns me. It really does concern me. We've owned BIIAB. We bought it off the British Institute of Innkeeping some 3 years ago. My background is hospitality, licensed retail, in terms of my former career. I've been in the FE and skills sector quite some time now, and the opportunity to buy BIIAB came up, and with that, strengthening my experience and my work in the hospitality sector. So really passionate about that sector. When I looked at it, we've been involved in the security sector as BIIAB for a number of years. We had a small market share. We've grown our market share to about 23% of the security qualification sector in that particular qualification over the last 2 or 3 years. We've been looking at it and strengthening before the File on 4 expose, because actually I was not content that we've got the strongest quality in place, and actually the work that we're doing to ensure that we've got good quality centres delivering training. So we've strengthened what we've done, and we'd already started doing that.
How did you go about that?
I think we just looked at what we were doing, all the work that we have to do for regulated qualifications. But in this sector, it goes above and beyond that. We're dual regulated, as you know, by both the qualification regulators in England, Ofqual, SQA in Scotland, etc. And then SIA, who draw the awarding organisations together to develop the qualification. And I think my concern has always been that we fall between two strong pillars, the SIA and the qualification regulators. And the security sector is unlike any other sector in terms of the challenges that it brings. There aren't many sectors. There are some others. We operate in those as well in our other subsidiaries that are dual regulated. And sometimes things fall between the two. And the qualification assessment is clearly regulated by Ofqual, and the qualification delivery much more by SIA. So as regulators, the the pull between the two causes sometimes some tensions. And that I was concerned that we'd got some centres that potentially weren't where we wanted them to be and needed them to be. This industry is, there's not many sectors where life and death is
Yes.
actually on the can be caused, and we've got plenty of examples of challenges in the sector around where there's been some really real challenges, and my own kids, in their 20s are out there on a Saturday night. I'm out there, even I get out on a Saturday night sometimes, but actually, security in venues, security, whether that's in the pub down the road or whether it's a big concert venue, we're all at risk. And this is a really important industry that has more impact than I think anybody really realizes.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, I just want to sort of pick up on that, as you say, you know, this coming at it. So it was personal because you're talking about your kids as well, yeah, etc.
Yeah, and I think it's personal for all of us, isn't it, in terms of the work in the sector? We want to be working in a sector. We want to be able to go out on a Friday night, a Saturday night, or whatever night it is, to our chosen venue to have a good time, to actually enjoy being out with knowing that we are being looked after by those that are qualified and licensed through the SIA to be security guards. And I think that is one of the security personnel. I think that's one of the big things for all of us. And therefore, it's incumbent on all of us that are associated with the sector to ensure that we're doing the best job we possibly can.
So you talked about as well the pull, the different pulling in different directions to a degree between Ofqual, yeah, and the SIA. And as we know, the SIA set and say this is what we want in our qualification, and Ofqual turn around and say this is how it's going to be assessed, and etc. etc. And you are caught in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, we are to an extent. However, I think there are some things that we probably need much more in this sector. I think we need a register of trainers. I
Yeah.
think we need to ensure that those trainers are qualified and experienced to do the job that they are doing. I think, it is incumbent on this sector to work with the regulators, both Ofqual and SIA. I think there should be much more joined up thinking. These are not things that I've not said to SIA or Ofqual or indeed SQA. It's really important that we join up. There is some, a focus at the moment post the Phylum 4 and some of the things that I've been able to say behind the scenes to ensure that we are focused together. I think as awarding organisations, we need to be much more joined up. We do have forums where we come together, but we need to be stronger at what we do in terms of strength, the shared information that we give to ensure that there are no rogue training organisations out there delivering training. And it is a challenge. It's an ongoing challenge. We've poured quite a lot of resource into our security team. It's significantly bigger. We've strengthened the expertise in the sector. We've got a couple of people that, we're doing lots more observational training than we used to do. That is a unique thing in this sector around awarding organisations. We are focused and regulated around the qualification outcome. We're not regulated by our qualification regulators about the training input. And in lots of other sectors, if you're in a college on a program that is funded in a college, for instance, or you're on an apprenticeship with a provider, the Ofsted are the regulator that go and look at the quality of training. In the security industry, we don't quite have that same reporting and publication of reports. SIA do a lot of visit and do a lot of observations, and that is really good that they just turn up at centres, and we work together with SIA. But my view is it needs strengthening and it needs building on, and we need to say this is a sector where safety is paramount. Spectator safety in an event, or that the people visiting the pub on a Saturday night, is absolutely our focus. And therefore, as I said earlier, a register of trainers and qualifications being brought in my view, would be go a long way to ensure that we've got a safer working environment for the sector.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting as well because I read Paul Forward's SIA before he came and visited you, didn't he?
He did indeed. We invited him down and he said, yes, I'd like to come. And it was really good to have him the opportunity to talk to Paul, who's really open and listening and taking hopefully a number of the ideas that I've put forward on board. I know that he's absolutely committed to ensuring that SIA is at the forefront of improvement in the sector.
It is. Yeah, he is. He's a jolly. He's a really good guy. He's probably He's one of the reasons why I'm actually an SIA fanboy. But that aside, the reality is they are difficult. They have their own set of difficulties and
Yes.
environment within which they have to work.
Yeah, and I'm aware that some of the ideas I've put forward, particularly around trainer stuff, ensuring that there's a register, ensuring that they're observed, ensuring there is a stronger, if we feel that a trainer shouldn't be training, that they're taken out of the system and they can't work in centres. There's lots of things that I think could happen, and it may well take legislation changes, SIA's remit, etc. So the solutions are quite easy to say. Implementing them is a little bit more difficult. I think some of the things that we could do is much more around a forum for awarding organisations at my level, and at other levels below, with both the regulators together. So there's lots of things that don't require legislation, and I think are coming together, which the SIA, I think, are quite keen to support, will actually, I think, drive up standards. We need to be driving up standards. We need to be going, this is what we expect, and this is how you go about achieving it. As a collective voice, I think for too long we've been quite disparate. Yes, we do come together with SIA from time to time, but is it at a senior enough level around strategy and policy and implementation? Not always, but I think that those are the easy wins. Let's go for the low-hanging fruit, and then let's put into place, the other things that perhaps need a little bit of change. We've got a potential change in government coming up, in terms of, at some point this year, we're going to have an election. It's one of the things that we need to be putting forward in terms of having conversations with both the current government and a potential prospective future government around what do we want the system and the sector to look like. How do we build in the safeguards that are easy to put in, but equally the things that need, as I say, legislation.
The thing about that as well, Paul, is, and I just pick up on that. It's interesting because about the disparate nature of these the awarding organisation and any group that works together, that have competing interests. That is always going to be the okay, but yeah, we can do all of that so long as it suits me. And I don't mean that anything. This is business. That we've got a commercial responsibility to shareholders, families, if you, et cetera, et cetera. So within that context, then, how important is the willingness to show leadership, the willingness to say, okay, you lot, you can go down this path if you wish, but for the ethical, moral, actual safety, thing, we're going to go down this path. And the reason I ask this is because I know that prior to file on 4, you'd already begun this process.
Mhm.
So is your leadership in this coming through?
Um, I'd like to think so. I mean, you talked about, shareholders and BIIAB is a commercial awarding organisation, but it's owned by a charity,
Yeah,
and it and BIIAB works very closely with the British Institute of Innkeeping. It's a charity.
yeah,
Our focus is our members. In the BII's case, it's the pubs up and down the land and other types of venue. Me, it's my colleges, and so my shareholders are interested in the value that we are providing, not the value that we're extracting. But equally, many awarding organisations in this space are charities like us. There's one or two that are commercial. Together, we need to raise up and go, what are we about first and foremost? First and foremost, we're about the training, development, and the assessment of candidates working in the sector to provide high quality assurance when they're out there as operatives in the security industry. If you're successful at that, the profits for those that are commercial flow through, surely. Thereafter, it's where do you put your emphasis to start with? And for me, it is about doing the right thing and ensuring that we're improving bit by bit, and actually that we're rooting out those providers that are not actually doing what they should be. I was appalled to hear some of the things that are happening in some of those centres, and they need to be rooted out. This year, I was looking at our market share just before this. We've stabilised this year compared around the same that we did last year. Primarily because we've rooted out a number of centres that we just don't think should be operating in this space. We need to strengthen, whilst there is a relationship between us as AOs, we need to strengthen that once an AO has decided that a centre is not working in the sector anymore, or shouldn't be because of malpractice, maladministration that we've uncovered. And it is always difficult to uncover it. It really is not, it's not as easy and straightforward.
yeah,
Uh, the investment we've made in terms of turning up ad infinitum in terms of various centres where we have concerns.
yeah,
Um, it's really challenging to find that and root it out. But we need to have a cross awarding organisation and cross regulator agreement about how we deal with that. We need to strengthen it, and we need to say that this industry is not about having rogue organisations delivering training. No centre should be delivering training if it's not up to standard. But it's fairly straightforward in terms of what the expectations are set
the,
out by SIA.
yeah. Oh no, no, sorry, Paul, I didn't mean to think. That's exactly what I was sort of asking in terms of where, that's exactly the kind of leadership. What are the awarding organisations as well? I mean, do they talk to each other? So let's say Ian Fox, become a rogue trader, yeah, etc., etc., blaming whatever it is, pirate flag on my shirt and on my logo, and you catch me out and you say, Ian, be gone. Am I going to be gone from all the other awarding organisations, or can I go and operate as someone else under them? Although I am still me and I am still a baddie.
I think the answer to that is possibly, and that's the issue, and we need to strengthen it. We do have conversations as awarding organisations. Are they as robust as they need to be? Probably not. Are there other things that we can do it to improve around that? Absolutely. And I think that's what I'd like to see going forward, much more of that. We are talking, the awarding organisations meet at officer level. We haven't met yet at CEO level, and I think we should. And I
Yeah,
think the SIA, that's something I've put forward to the SIA, and I think they're absolutely committed to that. And I think Ofqual are doing quite a lot of research, as are the other regulators in each of the nations, doing quite a lot of research with awarding organisations about where we are and what's happening. So there will be some stuff coming out, and we've put in quite a big action plan to drive up the standards across our awarding organisation. I can't speak for the others because
Yeah.
I'm not running the others, but we are all pouring in our resources to ensure that this is a sector that we can be proud of.
That's brilliant. Paul, we're going to just obviously coming to a close here. I just want to what have we got? Technology, just a clear. Are you planning on bringing in any technology, the use of artificial intelligence, AI, etc., to help you in this quest to improve security and safety of training delivery?
We're, we're always looking at technology. We're in the process of strengthening our awarding management system to ensure that, it goes around. There's lots of things. Marginal gains. You've
Yeah,
probably heard the term marginal gains. What do you do to improve your system bit by bit by bit? And we've been
yeah,
doing quite a bit of that. Artificial intelligence is an interesting one. I get asked about artificial intelligence quite often. A lot of people are quite skeptical about artificial intelligence. How do you use AI? Surely there could be more cheating in place as a result of AI. AI is just but a tool.
yeah,
Uh, it's a tool that can be worked for good and for bad. We are My product development strategy team are working closely at the minute on a number of things, including how do we use AI to ensure that we are building up stronger, better regulated qualifications. Training organizations are using AI, or increasingly using AI. I don't think we should be afraid of AI. I think we should be skeptical, but we should be skeptical about most things.
yes.
We should be skeptical, you know. However, it is a technology, it's not going away. And I think how do we maximize the best use of it? How do we use AI to ensure that we're picking up cheating in exams,
Yeah,
you know, and increasingly we're doing that. Human beings look at patterns. Every exam script goes through a system and that is at the moment used by human beings. My staff spend a lot of time scrutinizing the records that go through. They go
yeah,
through a computerized system, but the system needs you to verify. Um, Picking up patterns as a human being is not always that easy. Some of them jump out at you. How do you use AI to ensure that you're picking up the patterns, to ensure that it may well be that cheating's going on? And I'm really keen that we find an AI solution that actually helps us pick up the patterns, and then we can robustly go back and check and then do something about it. So I think there is a real role for AI.
that's good. Well, so I just thought try and end to a degree on a positive note. What I'd like, Paul, just for you, maybe some just some final words of why getting it right. And yeah, I know we sort of covered it before, but just to conclude it, of why you believe that it was right for SEG stroke BIIAB to put more effort and pour more resources into getting the protective security and safety space right.
Our mission as a charity is the advancement of skills in education to improve the lives of individuals. We looked at security. It was a sector that we could have pulled out of. Actually, I don't believe that you should just run away from challenges and issues. And therefore, if we're going to be in this sector, I took the decision that we were going to put the resource in to ensure that what we do, we can be proud of, actually contribute to public safety, not be a detraction from it.
Uh, what can I say? That's absolutely brilliant. Right, people, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed listening to what Paul's got to say. If you want to follow us, you can do. You can go to our website, which I think is https:// guest safety officer.co.uk, and you can find us on hashtag GSO TV999 on YouTube. Yeah, we'll put up the places where you can have a look at what Paul BIIAB, as you can see from his nice little sweatshirt there, hoping to get one of those. And we'll catch you next time. Peace out.